Hi, my name is Vincent Faney, F as in Frank, A-I, and I always feel like I need to say F as in Frank, A-I, and I when I was talking on the phone to people. In Italy, it's pronounced Faini. Somebody just told me to say, I just got some calls and emails. So Faney, your name isn't spelt like it looks like it should be Faney, but in Italy, they call it Faini. Anyways, this is the book I wrote, and it's a 600-page manual. And I wrote it mainly because I was frustrated. I saw a lot of people not making gains the way I thought they should make gains. I noticed that at a young age that some people, when they did 100 pounds for 10 reps, it wasn't the same as when somebody else did the same weight for 10 reps. Some people moved the weight faster, some people move the weight slower, more accentuation. Some people don't pause, some people pause, and it's not the same. So I noticed people got different results, and because everybody's different, some people would, quite frankly, get the same results. So let me get this down. Okay, where was I? Why I wrote the book? Okay. Now, how to use this book? I wanted to talk about that. We all have different ways, but I want to show people how to use a book. And before anybody can do anything, they got to really think about, well, before I do anything, what are my real desires? What are my desires and goals? You got to ask yourself, what are your desires and goals? What's your schedule like? How much time per day can you afford to spend to working out? How many times a week can you train? How open you are to new experiences? Possibly expanding your mental and spiritual dimensions. And of course, I talk about all the things you need to do to think about how to use the book. A lot of people don't think of all these things about taking action, or wondering about if their biology comes into play, and so forth and so on. Anyways, something for them to think about. And again, I want them to question everything, question what I'm saying. So when I say something to you, I'm not only going to assert this is my opinion or this is what I think. I will show you some math and physical equations in physics and mathematics, and also talk about my experience and the anecdotal results from other people, and also the events that they've had, the results. It's not just going to be well, I'm saying this and please believe me. And you can research this with other people also. I like Bruce Jenner. He's with the Kardashians nowadays, but he was once an incredible Olympic decathlete. You have to train your mind like you train your body, and that's true. Now here in this section, I talk about a revolutionary training concept, and that's what some of my concepts are. They are revolutionary, and you have to understand that these new concepts will do what you want to, and you have to talk about what are these new concepts. And I want to once again emphasize it's necessary to study the tables in this book so you can learn how to construct a training routine that is best suited for your needs. Okay? Please do not skip these sections because they're a very important part of this book. Okay, now I like this from Arthur C. Clarke. The only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible. And that's what we're going to be doing with this book. We're going to talk about the intelligence and consciousness and how our body interrelates with everything. And again, question everything. Now here's something to think about by Jimmy Johnson. Really, it comes down to your philosophy. Do you want to play it safe and be good? Or do you want to take a chance and be great? Ask yourself that question. Okay? I love Anthony Robbins. A secret to success is learning how to use pain and pleasure instead of having pain and pleasure use you. If you do that, you're in control of your life. If you don't, life controls you. Okay, it's very good. Now listed below are a few respected experts that will give my views some weight. And this will, have you realize why and how you should use this book. I can't pronounce this guy's name. It's a great book. In the Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experiences. Out of the League. Okay, some qualities of peak experiences of sports. Elite Athletes in the Flow. All these are great books. Okay? I want you, and these guys talk about I mean, if I can't read this to you because it would take like an hour, and I'll do it for the for the blind and so forth. But you guys got to kind of read the book and just look at the highlights. And now, it's so important guidelines and points to think about and study: being responsible for your life, getting over yourself, goal setting. Fate loves the fearless. Give yourself permission to win. Think about having fire in your belly, and your attitude is everything. And be here now. The 7 qualities for achieving success. Competitiveness, or I think creativity is sometimes a better term. Confidence, control, commitment, composure, courage, and consistency. Okay? Alright, lots of quotes. Some of these I'll read to you, some of these I won't. You'll have to read it out, the glossary of terms. And as you know, I'm not going to get into that. This is basically, we see in many exercise books or anatomy physiology books. And here, this is a compilation. It's from memory of what I know. So you go to any anatomy physiology book or exercise book, you won't see this many words that need to be defined, because basically these are compilation from memory of many of the books I've read. So it goes beyond that. So I'm not going to go into another chapter. I may later date another DVD just to give it a tutorial on what these words mean and how they relate to your lifting, and how you need to think about these to avoid injury and to simply excel. So you see, there's a lot of damn words here. There's a lot of words. I mean, pages and pages and pages. Talking about repetitions and fatty acids and speed strength and speed training and steady state and shit. There's just several pages just on the S's. So all these terms I know. I studied forever. Okay. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed by Jesus. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to say goodbye now for now. Next time we'll be talking about your belief systems and how they may influence you and weight training. Thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you later. Hi, my name is Vincent Faney. I talk to my friends again about about weightlifting training. I'm the author of Zen and the Art of Resistance Training, and I've been lifting for over 40 years. Over 40 years, serious training. A lot of research, a lot of experiential, intellectual research and experiences, and also I was a competitive athlete, and right now I'm pursuing a degree in biomedical engineering. So this is the book, and that's just the cover right there. It's the hardbound. And this is some of the people I wanted to look like. That's Frank Zane. I wanted to look like Frank Zane. But let me go to the other book itself. The meat of the book. And I want to talk about why I wrote the book. And the reason why I wrote the book, I had no idea of where the journey would go. I mean, I just wanted to write a book to help people keep from going with steroids, to show them that I believe that all people could reach a world-class level of strength, or most people, unless they had some sort of medical disorder or something, or a disability. But, you look at world athletes and how far they are, how much stronger and faster they are than the average population. And the bulk of the population is like on a bell curve. And in fact, it's even like below the bell curve as compared to an IQ bell curve physically. And I believe that the majority of those people who are midline could be close to the upline guys, the high guys. And so I wanted to talk about why I chose the title for the book, Zen or Resistance Training. I chose the word Zen specifically. I purposely chose it. Some people say, hey, it's a good marketing word. People love Zen. But I chose it because the state of Satori, or non-thinking, that is attained with the proper application of resistance training. Let's face it, whatever endeavor you're trying to do, whether it's playing the guitar or lifting or whatever, if you're like my friend is a world-class guitar player, he says, if I actually had to think about where each finger was going to go, with the speed it was going to go, with the pressure it was going to put on the strings. If I had to think about it, I would not be able to perform it. You have to get into you have to get into a lot of practice to where you're thinking about it and you're struggling and you practice and you practice, you practice, practice until it gets into like you don't have to think about it. And it's a blissful state of non-thought. You're simply being. You simply are the weight. You're simply lifting the weight. It goes beyond the joy of lifting from endorphins. A lot of people say, oh, I like exercise and I get this endorphin rush. You get that. But with Zen, you get an extra feature where there's no resistance. You're being. There's no conflict. There's no beehive of thoughts. You're simply pure. You're being. You're in the moment. And that's what I liked about lifting, and I try to apply that. Now, I'm not saying that's where we need to be all the time. I think there's things to be said about thinking and so forth and so on. I just don't. I think we spend too much. I think if I could wave a wand and say that thinking about something and being something, I think thinking should be minimal and being something should be more time being than thinking. Right now we spend so much time thinking, almost never being. Okay, so it is a state of pure and blissful being, and you're always in the moment of the now. And speaking about the now is all we have. The second before I just spoke about the now is the past, a reference library. Second after, whatever happens after what I'm speaking about now or feeling about now is a future. It needs to be planned. Too many human beings spend their time in the past or their time in the future. Too many human beings spend their time in the past worrying about this and that, what was said, this and that. Well, or in the future, what's going to be said, what's going to happen. Fears. Being in the now is simply being in this second, and the next second, now this second, and now this second. I just want to emphasize that. So in the title of the book, I put more emphasis on the words resistance training, because these words imply that you do not just lift weights, but also the resistance espoused in this book comes in many forms. And I use the word scientific because there's a lot of cutting-edge scientific research. And, it's repeatable. There's math, there's physics that I use. It's not just anecdotal stuff that I'm talking about. It's not just Vince's story. It's stuff that you could experiment, stuff that you could write down equations over, it's stuff that you could experience, like an experiment. Training, because I put a lot of importance to the programs, organized regimentation. And I use the word yogic approach because the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of yoga are very important, and I take many opportunities to show the many similarities of this and the resistance training discussed throughout the book. And I want to emphasize there's a lot of importance put on various breathing techniques and other yogic methodologies in the training which I outline. Weight training, obviously I use that word because you'd be mostly using weight equipment. Anyways, the book's evolved since then, and I took 6 years to write, and even now, when I go through this and I talk in these tutorials and show the videos, I'm just going to go over the salient, generalized points. You could read more in depth of the little nuances here and here, what's in this paragraph, that paragraph, and so forth. But that's what I want to basically say, is that weightlifting is not simply hoisting weights, at least not for me, and I don't believe it should be for most people. Okay? And so part of the reason why I started lifting is I noticed that people always think that most of us are not created equal, and there's genetics involved, and this and that. And it's my belief, and I found this out from long, hard experimentation and research and knowledge and wisdom, is that we're all closer to being close to world class than we believe if we just train properly and have the right social, psychological, mental programming. So, anyways, throughout this book I show many quotes. I love quotes. They're very inspirational. Some of them are more inspirational than others. As he thinketh in his heart, his mind. So I say mind also. So he is. You feel it. So is he. Okay, so now you're gonna read all. I'm not gonna read all this. Perhaps one day I'll have somebody with a better voice than me read this for somebody who's, or read this for somebody who's blind. But right here, the ability to conquer oneself is no doubt the most precious of all things sports bestows upon us. Olga Korbut. I remember her in my day. She was a champion gymnast. Okay. And you want to look at all this. So that's chapter 1. Basically, I just didn't want people to think that they're closed in. They're not, I believe in open-ended potential, and I don't want people to believe that it's closed and that without drugs or this and that, they can't achieve this or that. It's basically has a lot to do with what you can believe and using good programming and so forth and so on. And again, I started weightlifting, and my progress initially was pretty good because everybody's progress. Imagine somebody who's never done push-ups and just started push-ups. Imagine if you never done push-ups, you did 10. Well, within 3 months, you'll be doing, of course you'll be doing 20, 30, 40, 50, 100. So that's how it is with weightlifting. Never push yourself, then you start pushing yourself, you're going to show more results. It's got to be done scientifically. And so a lot of people don't think that most people train wrong. I mean, I got to tell you, they train right. I mean, they're out there training, and they do so many sets or so many reps at the weights. But they hit a wall because what they're doing is basically just somebody told them this is what you need to do. There's no real science behind it, no real. They just told that this is going to work, and when it doesn't, they have no idea why it doesn't work, and if it does work, they have no idea why it does work, and this is what this book is all about. All right, thanks so much, and I'll talk to you in Chapter 2 next time about the inherent problems of research, and I think this is why we need to talk about this, because this will be very insightful. This will help to free you from the tyranny of the opinions of others. Thanks so much.